There, and welcome to Moster Does the Crossword, the adventure where I talk through or review my activities on a puzzle. This issue focuses on the New York Times crossword for Friday, August 6th. There is an introductory piece. There is a very long piece in the middle where you hear me talk out loud while I make mistakes and changes, and there is a review at the end. In order to expedite things, this edition will bifurcate, so it's the same intro for either of them. I'm recording this now. I'm not going to cut the things together for a few hours because it's 11 o'clock in the morning and I have TPS reports to do. But this is a good puzzle, and I stopped. And even after I finished the puzzle, I stayed to do the review, and I stayed to do this because I wanted it to be fresh in my head. This is a good, solid Friday. It's hard. It's not impossible. It's not a lot of Latin. It's not a lot of other bullshit. It's just work, and it's good work, and it's rewarding work. And I got tripped up on something silly that I didn't read out loud to myself. Interestingly, actually, the way I ended up reading it out loud to myself was backwards. But none of that matters because I got there, and it was a great journey to get there. And so I will end this now, and once again say thank you for coming along. This is review time. Final spoiler alert ends. I was dumb. I found my problem. I've done this before. It's why I kept going. But just desserts is due. And 8 up. And tests, tries is sips. And this is the corner that was fucking killing me since, I don't know, I could go back and look at the duration of the first clip of this whole spiel. So, putting that to the side, and again, that's a Moser problem, not a puzzle problem. That's perfectly appropriate for the puzzle. And it fits, and everything else is good. There were a few other things that I didn't like. I think I got most of them in the screenshots. There's a shit ton of screenshots. I'm going to pause this while I get there to make sure nobody sees pictures of anybody's butts, and I have to start recording from scratch. And yes, this is going to be a little bit more rambly because, it took me fucking 80 minutes to do this thing. And yes, it's going to be a little bit more sweary probably too. Okay. So, right here, I did actually reach out for help on Sylvia Sims. You can see the thing here. I would show you the text message, but you're just going to have to fucking believe me. So, there's a lot of these. Again, this is a good one because it's not a theme. This is what I like about the end of the week. The theme is, hey, it's a lot of long words, and some of them look like this. And I keep tapping on the fucking thing. I'm not having a good time here. These are all the videos. Okay. Now, maybe I'll edit some of that shit out. I don't know when I'm even going to post this at this point. Pain to a Pediatrician, Imp. This got me a little bit, but an imp means a bratty kid, so it makes perfect sense. And that is 18 down, by the way. Also, we're doing this in reverse order because that's where the screenshots start. Invigorating, this got me I had Brisk here for a long time. I had James Cameron, which was also wrong. And I had Brisk and Imp and Ink and everything. It was a nice little moment where I figured all that stuff out together. This one, Charlotte Emmeline, it ended up being Amelie, as you will see later on. But it got me because I'd never heard of it before. I'm a little bit curious, but not curious enough. A Clock for the End of Time. This one got me for too long also. I kept thinking like Omega or something like that, or Ultimate, but that's what it was. Okay, so another one, Exceedingly Obtuse, As Thick as a Brick for 7 down. Nothing at all related to beginning of a lyric other than that it is however many characters long. And that's the shit that I dig, and you see it in it's 2, 7, and 11, across, or down rather, and then 17, 22, and 48, and that's nice and symmetrical, and it's also, you're intersecting two of the key clues at the same time. That's what I like about why Friday and Saturday are not themes. Slow, this one took me a while, but it's like a slow gin fizz kind of a thing. But yeah, I didn't know it was a fruit. I don't know what I thought it was, but I didn't know it was a fruit. Headley Lamar. This one I had Gabor. I probably took a picture of it as Gabor. Maybe we'll get there and I'll talk about it then. But yeah, she was an old Hollywood actress, and there's a really funny bit. This is 2 down, by the way. There's a really funny part of Blazing Saddles, one of the only parts of Blazing Saddles that might actually be made today, that is a pun on that name. Gracious Informally. I like this one a lot. It took me way too long. It didn't actually take me too long. Excuse me, it's just way outside of the way I normally think about things. But it's a lordy, lord, just like gracious. I like it a lot. And it's funny because I consume a lot of British content, and they will do things like rhyme bar, the place where you go for a drink, with ba, what a sheep says. And I like those differences in puns across the languages. I put Emily here for from. Is that how it ended up? Let's find out. No, Eric is how it ended up. So we will skip right over Emily. You know what? Maybe in the future I'll go back and... No, I'm not going to do that because that's all part of the process. I put Emily here on the front because I had the E and the I and the Y, and the Y ended up also being wrong, but, it fit, and it was a woman, and lately if you see something like that and it's a woman, you got slightly better than 50-50 that you're talking about the woman than the man. Tries, sits... This one sat until the very end, but it's actually sips. So instead of... I thought it was tries, sits, like sits on a bench and is the, the presiding judge over something. That was the tries that I had. And it seemed to make sense with all the other shit, and that's why it stayed there for more than an hour. Similarly, bought it here. I had ate it, as in completely bought. Either ate it like they bit, or ate it like faceplant. Bought doesn't really fit there, but there's all kinds of dialects and shit that I don't know about, so maybe it would have. I didn't talk about acai, but I'm sure I did later. This one, did it stay? I think Flap stayed for kerfuffle. Yeah, which is a cute one. Just something to remember. Woman's name, 26 down. Yeah, I like this one, and this is one of the ones that I kind of hung my hat on in the end of the puzzle, where this is what it has to fucking be. And there are a ton of those. This is where it has to be. And when I'm going through, and I'm talking with this level of excitement, and I'm this excited because it was a lot of work, and also because, I did it. But this level of excitement, this is the kind of clue where I'm like, it has to be right. And there are a whole bunch of those. Every area I went, it has to be right. It has to be right, until I was like, does this have to be right? And really staring at it, and what could I possibly be missing? And that's how I ended up getting... I'm like fucking gesturing with my fingers. I'm not up to drawing on the screen yet. But that's how I ended up getting that bottom left corner. Father of Italian language, Dante. This is one of the ones that I feel like I should have known sooner, but I didn't. But again, c'est la vie, because it was right, and it's definitely something that I will keep in my back pocket, or not my back pocket, in some weird little pocket between two other unrelated things in my brain. Fictional operator of the Discovery 1. This ended up being Hal. I feel kind of silly about not putting this as Hal sooner. I just didn't realize they called it Discovery 1 in the book or the movie, because I'm pretty fucking familiar with both of those. Rares for Coins is another one that, I don't know. I thought that it would be more than that, because that's, there's all different kinds. There's rare, and then there's one of a kind. So that tripped me for a while, but that's what it ended up being. And I'm also not what are they, numismatists? Or is that stamps? I don't know. I'm not a coin person, is the long version of that story. Element next to iron for, what is this, 14 across, manganese. Yeah, once I got the beginning of the ANG, it really kind of pushed me toward this pretty quickly because it's a metal. And, I thought maybe it was magnesium, but that's too long. So that was a good one and a nice way to get it on a relatively low number of crosses. Right, and here is where I talk about starting to figure these things out. And I'm going to go back, if I don't have it anywhere, and talk about Lottie frickin' Da, because I shouted that one out loud who knows how many times. But anyway, the answer to this one, 11 down, is animal husbandry, which is how you get animals to make more animals. And yeah, it was another one that I really hung my hat on because nothing else could be wrong about it. And those anchor points are really important, at least to me, in knowing that I'm not totally out of whack. Because there comes a point when you're like, if this is wrong, the whole fucking puzzle is wrong. And if the whole fucking puzzle is wrong, I should just leave anyway. So let's keep moving. Or that's me anyway. And this is the other one, because I kind of came to these similarly. I think I did, and then I went back and took this picture. But this is, I think it's Joan Jett. One way or another, I'm gonna find you. I'm gonna get you. That was terrible singing, and it'll stay in. Yeah, Lisa Bonet of A Different World. Yes, and Sirhan. So yeah, Lisa Bonet. She was one of the Cosby daughters. And I don't want to get into that because that's not this kind of podcast. So Sirhan. In 1968 news, when I was a child, I heard this name a lot. I was born in 1977. Couldn't tell you what he did. He was probably an assassin or something like that. But yeah. Yeah, there's a weird jump cut here because I scrolled too far onto the puzzle from the day before. Anyway, in summary, I like this one a lot. It was challenging. I really, really had to dig on a couple of them, but it was still there and right and good. And so that's what I like to get out of these end of the week puzzles. I like feeling this level of satisfaction after putting 80 minutes in the fucking phone, plus however much time, behind myself. It's definitely rewarding. And if you watch the other one, other than the fact you can see that it's 1:18:18, you can get a good feel for exactly how much work it is. And if anybody is doing this much work, I certainly do applaud you. And I also, of course, thank you for joining me on this adventure, and I hope that I have provided some value. If you're so inclined, please feel free to like or subscribe or share me with other people. We're still in beta, but I think we're at that point. So I wish you a peaceful journey.